This is the ABQ Business Podcast with your host, Jason Rigby. Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit that's in every entrepreneur. Discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
Have you guys ever heard of the app Medium? I hope you guys use it. They're not sponsoring the show or anything like that. I'm just telling you, it is a great app to use. It kind of curates articles based upon your interests. So if you're into business or you're into marketing, or maybe you're into life improvement or self-help or, whatever it may be, accounting, they have, extremely specific articles. It's just a good app to have. And I always want to give you guys tools. One thing that I do want to thank is the Bay Area in California, like Oakland, San Francisco, that whole area. About half my audience comes from California. So I want to recognize you guys. I get also a lot of people from Germany that listen to the show. So I want to thank you guys from California. I want to thank you over in Germany. I love soccer. So you guys just, nail it every time with soccer. I have a bunch of jerseys from different teams. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. I want to thank every single one of you, whether you're here in ABQ or whether, you're in California, Germany. I get a lot of downloads from Washington State and Texas and Arizona and, New York, that whole area. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen. I know everyone's extremely busy. So for you to take 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour and listen to my podcast, I don't take that for granted. That's why I always try to produce things that I know that are helping me in my life and that are moving me forward in what I'm trying to do. And I just want to take you kind of on that journey with me. And anything that I find that helps me, I want to give it to you guys so that you can not have to take all the time and do all the tons of research, and you can just take it, optimize it, put it in your life, what resonates with you. And then not only can I teach you, but I can also learn from you, because we can always learn and teach each other. And that's so important. When we look at everybody as being equal, when we look at, you can learn from anyone. You can learn from somebody what we perceive as being bad. We can learn from those people. They can teach us something. And then if we have humility in our heart, that way we can be able to be teachable also. So it's cool. If you get that concept to learn, teach, I would encourage you to go to our Higher Density Living podcast. We talk about that all the time. Alex and I do. That's more of a spiritual podcast. But today I want to talk about this article that I saw in Medium. It is 28 life lessons worth sharing. And they're just little tips, but I think they're more profound than we think if we begin, because I read it like 3 or 4 times and I began to resonate with some of them, and I just loved it. And so I wanted to take the time to be able to go over each one of these. There's 28 of them, and hopefully I can keep this. I'm hoping to keep it about 25, 30 minutes episode. So we're going to go over them pretty quickly. First one is no one has it all figured out. Think about that. No one has it all figured out. You perceive that they do, but they don't. They're still trying to. Elon Musk looks like he has his shit together, but he would be the first one, if you follow him on Twitter, he's the first one to tell you that he's trying to figure everything out. And he has all these companies, and there's only so much time in the day, but he always posts on Twitter things that he's working on or things that he's trying to figure out. That's the process, the puzzle, and that's where you need to learn to love. Learn to love that it's not figured out and that you need to figure it out. And in that space, if you can learn to love that part, you will be successful. The figuring it out, from not figuring out to figuring it out, that is where the work's done. That's where execution's done. That's where success happens. Love that part. Stop looking always to the future and always forward. Start focusing on the present and what needs to be accomplished now. Number 2, being nice is overrated. Be kind, be fair, be understanding. Not nice. Let me say that again. Being nice is overrated. Be kind, be fair, be understanding. Not nice. You say, well, that's kind of, it should go back to my podcast I just did. The last one I just did on people pleasing. That talks a lot about being nice and what that means. You can be kind. You can be fair. You can understand where people are coming from. or try to ask those questions so that you can get an understanding of what their reality is. Their perceptions are reality. Always remember that with everyone that you speak to. You have no idea how fucked up their life was or where they're at in their life or the level of ignorance that they have. If somebody lived in 3 square miles and they never went out of the 3 square miles in their whole life and they're 65 years old, their perception of the world is totally different. With somebody that watches CNN all day long or somebody that watches Fox News all day long, their perception's totally different. So, but that's their reality. That's what they're believing. Why would they take the time to sit there and leave Fox News on all day long if they didn't believe that was their reality? 2 different realities. You can have somebody right now. Look how polarizing everything is. People are living in 2 different worlds. Number 3, to love is to be vulnerable. Let your guard down. Ooh, this is a tough one for me. And I know this is a tough one for every single one of you. I'm a crab. I'm Cancer. I'm a male. Some of you, if you follow astrology, you know what that is. But me being vulnerable, not a thing I enjoy. I'm a crab likes to go hide, be in their shell. So vulnerability is something that I've had to work on tremendously. And being vulnerable is different than being honest. A lot of people think, well, I'm honest. Being vulnerable is allowing yourself the ability to get hurt. You're putting trust in someone else. And that can be scary to say, hey, here's my heart. But there's a way to do it that I've had to learn personally, and that is with respect. So as people demonstrate respect, then they earn my trust. Through earning my trust, then I'll be more vulnerable with them. But I'm not going to be vulnerable and get hurt just because somebody says that they're a title. They're my girlfriend, they're this, they're that. Now, a title doesn't mean anything to me. Respect means everything to me. By your actions, will I become vulnerable to you over time? Everybody gets too quickly into this. People are saying, I love you in 2 weeks. I'm single and I see this all the time. It's like, yeah, I just have these amazing feelings. I fell in love with you. Where did this come from? Yeah, love is abundant and it's everywhere, and we could love multiple people. And, we love all kinds of people, family, friends, previous lovers, whatever it may be. But at the end, that's being vulnerable and loving. That's something that's very special and should be given over time, for me, by someone earning their respect. Number 4, good or bad, you can learn from everybody. We talked about that earlier. So true. Good or bad, learn from it. Number 5, embrace all your emotions. Don't ignore them. Don't mask them. Embrace them. We talked about this in people pleasing, how people will take their emotions and smash them down and ignore them to the point of where they burst out. And then you have somebody, look at the Karens right now. We're all making fun of the Karens, aren't we? I feel sorry for somebody that's named Karen. That's a white, older white lady. And if you're listening to that and you're a Karen, we all love everyone equally. And so, regardless, I do follow on Twitter the Karens, freakouts. I do like watching them. I think it's kind of funny in a weird way. I like to watch people trip and fall and all kinds of stuff, which is horrific. Those fails and all those videos. So that may be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. But I laugh when I fall. I laugh when I hurt myself. And I do something silly. I've walked into glass doors. I've tripped over, who knows, rails and all kinds of stuff. I've tumbled and fell and done everything. And it hurts, but you can also laugh about it. I think it's not to take everything so seriously. But yeah, don't mask the emotions. Embrace them. You need to embrace. If you're feeling fear, you need to go into that fear. That's usually what people are having. They're at an 8 or a 9, and then COVID put them to a 10. And then now you can see the anger, the fear, the frustration, all of that coming out. But that's your emotions are there for a reason. They're there to teach you. They're there to help you be self-aware. The brain creates this emotion for fight or flight to protect you. So there's lots of, you can get into neuroscience, and I encourage you guys to do that. There are a lot of books on neuroscience. There's some really good ones that are, and you can DM me and I'll give you some titles that are real basic. They don't get super heavy into science. Joe Rogan just had Andrew Huberman is his name. I encourage you to watch that podcast. He's a neuroscientist at Stanford, and he gets into it and he can explain it in like layman's term what your brain is doing when it's experiencing emotion. Very, very cool to understand and know. Like love, it's just like two little pumps, two little squirts in your brain. It's like, of like acetylcholine or something like that. I don't remember the name exactly. I'd have to have it in front of me. I'll do a podcast on it soon. I think that would be fun. But your brain is just there for fight or flight to protect you. It can't see. It has to rely on your eyes, your ears, all of that. And so the whole idea of the brain is just to try to keep you alive. So it's experiencing these emotions to tell you, oh, you need to be afraid of this, or, this is good to go into this, or this makes you feel amazing, But once you become self-aware of that and understand it, then you can embrace your emotions and say, why am I feeling sad right now? What is the reason? And then go into that and understand it. Number 6, traveling alone is better than with bad company. Hell yes. I've traveled alone a lot. I've gone over to Europe. I've gone lots of places. I encourage you, if you're single, travel alone. It's a lot of fun. But you don't want to. I've traveled with bad company, and it makes the trip even worse. Number 7, unlearning is just as important as learning. Unlearning. You need to purposely tell yourself what you need to unlearn. Maybe there's some things that was taught to you when you were a child that you need to unlearn. There's a lot of religious dogma out there. There's a lot of stuff that you guys were taught in school, in this society, this archaic society that we live in. You need to unlearn. There's a lot of unlearning that needs to be done. Maybe your parents are one of these hardcore CNN or Fox News people, and they've tried to pass that on to you. You need to unlearn that and understand what you come from. What is your political views? What is your social views? Where do you stand? Because that's your truth. That's your reality. Number 8, no one prepares you to watch your parents grow old. I think that's essential. My father passed away. No one prepares you for that. I think it's something that you can become self-aware of and begin to understand and know, and then go from there. Number 9, own up to your mistakes. Do what you say you'll do. For me, this is something I learned from Jocko Willink with Extreme Ownership books. And all of his books, leadership books, is just to admit it, be honest, take 100% responsibility, own it, move forward. I think that is very easy to do if you begin to understand it, but I would encourage you to get those books. Like I said, he's a Navy SEAL. His name is Jocko Willink. You can go to Amazon. He has 3 or 4 leadership books. It'll revolutionize and change the way that you lead people, male or female. Just because he's a Navy SEAL and he has a weird name or whatever doesn't, these leadership principles he talks about, not having a big ego, serving people. They're just timeless leadership principles that are amazing. He also has a podcast where he goes into that. He does a lot of correlates it with war and stuff. So if you do like history, you'll love his podcast. He'll go for 2 or 3 hours. Really good podcast. It's a Jocko Willink podcast. 100% responsibility on number 9. Number 10, maturity is accepting you won't get answers to the shit that hurts you the most. Heal anyways. Maturity is accepting you won't get answers to the shit that hurt you the most. Heal anyways. Oh, this is so good. I love this one. That's what maturity is, guys. It's saying that person did that yeah, they hurt me, but they didn't really hurt me. They hurt themselves. Because all I do from the hurt is learn from it. That emotion of hurt is now I can see the emotions come in. Okay, I feel like I'm hurt. Well, why am I hurt? Well, this person did this to me. Well, what did they do to me actually? Well, they promised me this, this, and this, and they didn't do that. Well, that's on them. That's their responsibility for promising something that they did not fulfill. It has nothing to do with you. So you take that and you learn from it. And then through that process, you heal. When you understand that people and what they do, they never do anything to you. They don't do anything to you. They're doing it because they're hurt people. They're doing it to themselves. Because this victim mentality that we have that's so pervasive right now, it's crazy right now where everybody thinks they're a victim of everything. You're not. It's your perception's your reality. The reality that you're a victim means that you're powerless and you have no power to change. That's bullshit. You have all the power inside of you. If you were created by God, universe, whatever you want to call it, and you are a divine being, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, it doesn't matter. All of you have, if you look, Hinduism, whatever it is, they all have the same beliefs that we're divine beings, that we are created beings. And you look at that, then you are divine. And what you have in you is the answers to all of life. So you're not going to get all the answers because that other person, that's for them to solve and figure out. Number 11, one of the most important decisions you'll ever make in life is who you have children with. Choose wisely. This is a good one. Most people have children when they're really young and they don't know, and then they divorce. And so then the children live in single homes. I am included in that statistic. I was married for 18 years and have children and had a divorce. We've kind of grown apart. We're friends now. But at the end of the day, when you're that young and you're trying to figure stuff out, I always encourage people, go travel, go see other parts of the world, then have children. Take the money. If you're dying for a child, take a dog, because you got to have responsibility and you got to take care of them. But you can put them in a kennel and go for a week or two to Europe. Take the money that you would spend on a child and go travel. You need to understand other parts of the world and other cultures. That is the most important thing you can do. If you're in your 20s now, the most important thing you can do is travel. And I know right now you got to travel with masks and all that stuff, but I'm telling you, and you don't have to go out of the United States. Go down south into rural areas and see what it's like, and see how people interact. Go to Texas, go to Seattle, go to San Francisco. You're going to get totally different. Go to New York. You're going to get totally different cultures, and pay attention to that. Go to local coffee shops and sit there with your laptop for 3 hours and watch how people interact. Dive into the cultures. Don't stay in the nice hotels. Stay in the normal ones, that the Airbnbs and stuff like that. Become one with the culture, understand it, go to the museums, go to the art, see everything that is in that culture, and you will come out with a whole different perspective. Plus, you'll be able to share all that with your children when you do get older. But I think people should have children when they're older. I had them extremely young. And for me, it wasn't, I didn't have the maturity that was there and available like I should have. I had gone into the Marine Corps and a lot of things changed, and you're still trying to figure yourself out. And I've changed myself so many times. But I think if you're going to have children with somebody, you need to choose who that person is wisely. Number 12, women friends are cool. Don't try to sleep with them. This is something, me being single, I have women friends that I have not slept with. And guys, I'm going to talk to the guys right now. Your ego wants to conquer them. It's the monkey brain that says, I need you guys know, sometimes I was in the Marine Corps, so sometimes I can be a little bit over the top, but you don't have to have the vagina every time. This isn't something to conquer. Have women friends. You need them. You need someone that you can call and talk to and get a woman perspective from. It's the yin and the yang, the black and the white. You need that. You need that perception. You can't just tackle everything, with pure muscle and strength. You need that feminine approach, and having good friends that can guide you to that, women friends. You need to make some women off limits for sleeping with, no matter if you get drunk, no matter what happens. I have women friends that I've gone on trips with that I have not slept with, that we have gotten 2 separate beds. And just not going to happen, not going to do it. I value their friendship more than me trying to conquer them or think that I can get them in bed. Now, some women you can have as friends and, sleep with them or whatever. I always call it like Disney Plus. It's like Friends Plus. So we call it Friends with Benefits or whatever it is. But a lot of times you can ruin a friendship by doing that. Women friends are cool, guys. You need to have them. Number 13, you don't have to learn everything the hard way. This is something, this is me here. I like run into something, and the harder it is, the more I learn. I'm not very smart. So for me, I have to learn the hard way, but you don't have to. Taking the time to stop, become self-aware, reverse engineer the process, see where it's at, get a game plan, have some strategy behind it, and then move forward. Not just move forward blindly. As I get older, that's something I'm learning. Let's move on. Number 14, one day you'll need to be forgiven, so learn to forgive others. When you perceive that it's on them, it's not on you, that they're not hurting you, like I said before, but they're hurting themselves, it's easy to forgive. It's really easy to forgive because the responsibility is not on you. It's on them. And so they didn't do anything to me. They did it because of them. So, forgiveness becomes natural. It becomes easy. In that way, some of you need to forgive things that you're taking the past and allowing it to mold and shape you and move you in a horrific direction. And it will always move you in the future until you forgive. And you need to get into that and delve into that, whether you need to journal about it or whatever it may be. But you need to get all those emotions out. You need to cry for a week, whatever it is. You need to get that emotion out and deal with it and get that solved and resolved. One of the things that I encourage people to do is get a journal of something that's very scarred them, that scarred them tremendously, and start writing all about it. Just get a small journal and then burn the journal. In a safe place, in a fire pit or something like that. Get all that emotion out and then release it. Do this on your own. Don't do it with anyone else. And just write everything out. Write as much as you can. Spend a week on it, writing. You're going to go through depression and every other emotion known to man. Get all the emotion out. Get it all out. And then at the end say, I'm forgiving that person. I'm forgiving this. I'm not allowing this to burden me anymore. I am moving on from this. I have a whole life to live that I'm empowered with who I am. And this does not define me. And so I'm burning this and I'm going to watch it burn, and it is gone forever, and ashes forever gone. It's a really good thing to do. Number 15, instead of buying your children what you didn't have, teach them what you didn't know. I think that's why it's important to have children when you're older, because you can teach them so much and you're patient. Allow your children to be around your parents, uncles, aunts, grandparents, people that you trust, even if they have a whole different perspective. Maybe you're conservative and they're liberal. Maybe you're liberal and conservative. They need to understand that. And you need to take the time to say, hey, grandpa's really liberal. Here's what that means. And here's his perspective on things. And you can have amazing conversation with kids, especially when they start getting like 7, 8, 9, 10, and teenagers, of course, but they need to get different perspectives. Don't just put them in. That's the problem we have now. Don't just put them in the one camp and then everything else is fear-based and they cannot explore what they want to understand and feel. It's not the end of the world. You're super conservative and one of your children become liberal. That's not the end of the world. You don't know where they're going to go and how life is going to change for them and what they need to accomplish and what they need to do. Number 16, never let your inner child die. That creativity, that's where children come in. The imagination, exploring new things, believing, having tons of hope. That's your inner child. Those things need to come back. You've allowed the past and rules and regulations and all the pressures of the fake pressure of society. And you having to fit in and be the mold and having certain, whether you go to, I'm making fun of myself with this, whether you go to REI and you've got to wear a North Face or Patagonia and you got to hike and you got to do all these things and you're going to have this. And, each people want to fall into tribes. That's not the right way to do things. That is, you are you and you are unique and you're a totally different person. Maybe you love hiking and you love mountain biking, but you're ultra conservative. That's fine, whatever it may be. Number 17, if someone doesn't treat you as good as a Chick-fil-A employee, they don't deserve to be in your life. I love that. Yeah, Chick-fil-A, they definitely, for fast food, they definitely have it down. I love they're ultra conservative company, guys, and they just do a great job at serving others. And I think that is the attitude that we should have, and stop looking at these tribes and stuff and just look at how people interact with others, because that's the most important. Number 18, no one reads minds. Speak on how you feel. Be brave, guys. Be courageous. Tell somebody how you feel. So many, I talk to people, I talked to someone the other day and they're like, I just never shared with them. I'm just so scared. They don't know. They don't know. They're not going to guess. They're living their own life, doing their own thing, trying to figure shit out in their own life. You've got to tell them. Speak how you feel. Make sure you've assessed the feelings and the emotions and gone through it. If you will write down, if you'll become self-aware, if you'll say, okay, I'm in an argument with my husband And he normally does this, this is this. He's ignoring me. He's doing this. He's worried about his own stuff. He goes out in the garage all for 4 or 5 hours a night and never pays attention to me. I would like to sit down occasionally because he aggravates me too. So I'd like to sit down occasionally and just have quality time with him where we're not on our phones and we go out to eat or we watch a movie or whatever it may be. You need to speak that to him. But you can't do it when you're emotional and pissed off. You have to do it after you've figured it out. And say, hey, men like respect, women want love. There's a book called Love and Respect, a great book. You should understand that. You need to approach him from his reality of respect. Say, hey, I feel like you're disrespecting me by spending all your time on yourself. I get that, and I love that you do that and that you have these passions because you don't want to attack him. The minute you start attacking a man, he's going to go in defense mode or he's going to tune you out. So, thank him for everything that he does, that he provides. Men love to provide. Thank him for that. And then go into, can we schedule once a week a date night where we put our phones away and where we spend, an hour or two. If I need to get a babysitter every night or once a month, whatever it may be. Some of you need to take a lunch time and go get a nice hotel room and just spend lunch and go have fun together. And go to the hotel bar, go to the hotel restaurant, get some drinks, go upstairs, have some fun. And that's the lunchtime. You can do that for 3 or 4 hours and have a babysitter, from 11 to 2 and just have a ton of fun. And you can do that locally and not, it's just a great time to spark up your relationship. But you need to speak on how you feel. Let everyone know how you feel. After you've assessed the situation, you can come at it from what you perceive to be there. Good thing that you can say one question, and this helps you with coaching. What do you feel about it? What are you feeling about this? And then say this, and what else? Because the what else will give you the really answer. They're going to give you a guarded answer. And then when you say what else, really listen, because that's the key that you can move forward. Number 19, never feel bad about promoting yourself. You guys have businesses and you won't promote yourself because you feel like, no, but that's the thing that's inside of you. It's not an ego thing to promote yourself. If you're doing good, if your company's doing good and it's helping the world and you're helping your local business and you're helping society, or maybe you make the best burritos known to man and that's your restaurant and that's what you do. People enjoy food. They need to know that. You need to promote yourself. Never be embarrassed of promoting yourself. Don't make it all about you. Make it about your company. Make it about your mission. Make it about the purpose and what you need to do. Maybe you want to be an influencer on Instagram. How can you help the world promote that? Number 20, if you value your time, say no to anything that you don't absolutely want to do. That's the fuck yeah. If I can't say fuck yeah about something, then I don't want to do it. And I love that. That's kind of how I've been doing it. I turn down things every week, constantly. People are always asking me to do things, to meet, I turn down stuff all the time. I 80% of the time say no. 20% of the time I say yes. And I usually take a couple days to think about it before I respond quickly. I value my time, and I know how I need to be as a person. I'm an introvert, so I know how I need to be to recharge, and I'm not just going to be at the whim of everyone and do whatever everyone says. Number 21, spending time alone is one of the best things you can do. I've learned this last year, and I've learned this through COVID. And it's so undervalued, guys. You need to get good at spending time alone and recharging and understanding who you are. That's how you learn the most, is by spending time alone. You need to make sure you take the time to do that. 22, celebrate your accomplishments. Pat yourself on the back, guys. This is something that aggravates me so much, how people can be so self-deprecating after they've done something that's amazing. I just sent a text out to my team telling them how proud I was of them and how much they accomplished, because they kicked ass. They accomplished a ton of tasks. They did it in such a great way that we all need to celebrate our accomplishments. Celebrate them. Let other people know. Celebrate with other people. If you're a leader, celebrate. Because you know what happens as a leader? When you celebrate the right behavior, that behavior becomes the norm. Focus on celebration. You've got to do that. Celebrate. Buy lunch. Get some Starbucks, whatever it may be. Get something catered. Celebrate it, guys. If you don't have a lot of money, a thank you card for $1 works extremely well. And take the time to sit in there and write it out. Write out a couple paragraphs in the thank you card and tell them how you want to celebrate them and their accomplishments. Number 23, if you care too much about what other people think, you're effectively their slave. And I did a whole podcast on that, on people pleasing and the second agreement. I encourage you to listen to both those. Not going to get into that. Number 24, be so busy improving your life that you don't have time to criticize others. This is something that I have learned in probably the past 5 years. I'm just going to be so busy on myself and improving my life and getting to a 10 and physically, mentally, spiritually in all these aspects of my life that I don't have time. I don't have time. You guys don't see me posting on all this garbage that's going on. It's too polarizing. I don't have time for that. The best way that I can help somebody else is not me reposting something on Instagram that's hateful or fearful, but me posting whether I'm a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter or whatever it may be. I really hate all politics. I don't even like messing with any of it. I've turned down a lot of politicians being on the podcast because they always hit me up because they want to be on here, just because it's just so much bullshit. And I just don't want to give you guys that garbage information. If a politician would let me send them questions, and if you're a politician, you're listening to this and you want to come on the show, if you'll let me send questions that are heartfelt, that are true, and that, you know, delve deep into who you are as a person and also delve deep into what you believe, I'm down with you coming on. But I've offered that to politicians and they don't want to do that. They want to have talking points. And you know, and it's funny. I've asked a couple politicians to be on the show and they just turn me down every time because they know what I'm going to get into and how, not that I want to create an argument, not at all. I want to know them, who they are as a person. I want to know their moral ethics. I want to know how they're serving people and not concerned about themselves and getting reelected. I want to know how passionate they are about what they're doing. And that is what specifically I'm going to talk about with them. But I'm not going to sit here and criticize others. I'm not going to criticize a movement that may be happening. I'm not going to criticize, protesters or not protesting. I don't have time to sit on a throne and judge people. I'm not going to put myself at the center of the world and then sit around and because somebody doesn't agree with me, they're less than me. That's bullshit. We need to stop that. Just because somebody disagrees with you doesn't, that we're all equal, guys. No matter, America was founded on that we're all equal. And yes, okay, some of you have read the books and all that stuff, and you're saying our founding forefathers, were horrific, and we need to erase the past and all that. I'm pretty damn excited. I was served in the Marine Corps, and there is a lot of garbage that's out there. And yeah, they were slave owners and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, their evolution, their process of understanding who they are, I guarantee you 100 years from now, people are going to see how archaic we were. We don't have it all figured out. Neither did they. No one has it figured out. That's the first thing that we talked about today. We're all learning. We all have prejudices inside of ourselves for certain things. We all look at whether it's class or whether, I saw somebody that they said, well, she just has a Michael Kors purse. What the hell is that? Just because you have a Louis Vuitton doesn't mean that person's lesser than that. Who knows what they're going through? Who knows what, maybe their grandma gave that to them before she passed away. You don't know. Why would you think that you can judge? We cannot judge other people, guys, with class, with race, with any of that. When you begin to understand we're all spiritual beings, we're all equal in this world, we're all learning and teaching each other, you can't criticize others. Don't criticize others. Get that out of your vocabulary. Just work on improving yourself. Out of all these, this is my favorite one, number 24. Number 25, everyone you love will eventually die. Spend your time with your loved ones. Keep them close. Understanding that we don't know when we're going to die and move on from this life and go to the next. So, love the people that you're close to. Understand that you have a limited time on this earth and they do too. Number 26, listen to understand, not to respond. Listen to understand, because you're trying to perceive their reality. You're learning. They're sharing with you what's going on in their head. You need to understand that. I always tell, if you're in sales, you should be talking 20% of the time. And that 20% should only be asking questions. If you're doing diarrhea of the mouth by sitting there just throwing out a bunch of garbage, product knowledge and all that stuff, you're failing. You need to listen to understand what their concerns, what their needs and wants are, not to respond. That's why I can't watch news. I don't watch news. People are just waiting and interrupting each other just to respond. They have no desire to learn what the other person's talking about. I want to talk to people that question me. I want to talk to people that have different perspectives than I do because I can learn something from them. Number 27, hang out with people from different races and socioeconomic classes. This is so important. You have to understand this. There was a book that's real popular right now. It's New York Times bestseller. And this lady was talking about, I just could not understand it. She's a white lady and she's talking about white privilege. And I get that. I understand all of that. But she was talking about, in the book, she talks about how she went to a business lunch and there was a lot of black people in one section and the whites. And so she knew she was racist and realized she was racist when she didn't want to go hang out. They assigned her to go hang out with the black people. And I'm like, I know I was in the Marine Corps. After we all, and I've said this before, we all bleed red. I don't look at it that way. And maybe that's her journey in her life. And like I said, I'm not going to criticize her. But at the end of the day, I don't care what color you are. I'm going to hang out with cool people, not assholes. That's kind of how I look at it. Are you a good person or are you a bad person? Well, I'm going to limit myself with you. I may learn from you, but I'm going to limit myself with you if you're bad because I don't want that toxicity in my life. But if you're a good person, I don't care if you're purple or green or it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're poor or rich. I have all different friends from all different types of classes. I'm not going to stay in one little area. I hate that. That's the problem with America that we have right now. Number 28, last one. You can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first. I say this all the time. Everybody's wanting to help everybody else, and they use it as an excuse not to work on themselves. If you're unhealthy, and you know what that is for you physically, then how can you be optimal and primed to what you need to be? If you're mentally depressed or angry or hurt, how can you be the best for others? Spiritually, if you're dead inside and you have no idea what you believe in, then how can you be that light, that soul that helps others, that resonates with them? You can't pour from an empty cup, guys. You have to work on yourself first. And I hope that this just brings more self-awareness. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm working on. Like I said, these are things that I resonate with and I'm working on. I need to work on every single one of these. I'm just every day I want to learn. I want to have a learning mindset. I want to have humility. I don't want to know all the answers. I want to question the things that I do believe in. I want to learn from everyone, whether bad or good. And at the end of the day, I hope that each of you, this ABQ Business Podcast family, I hope that each of you have that same desire. If you're into hate and division and racism and all this garbage that's out there and political ostracizing and everything that learn from it. Learn from it. Grab a huge dose of humility. If not, life will bring it to you so that you can learn from that. It's not about having all the answers. It's about understanding and learning and growing. That's what it's about. And I hope each of you will learn to grow and that we can grow together. And I hope that this podcast helps you do that. Please share. Please subscribe. You can go to my Instagram. I'm most active on there. ABQ Jason Rigby. My Snapchat is Jason Rigby 25. I post a lot of personal things on there, things that I like, hobbies and stuff that I do. That's Jason Rigby 25. But you can pretty much Twitter everywhere. It's ABQ Jason Rigby. Just look me up that way. Also go to our website, abqpodcast.com. That's abqpodcast.com. I put all the books that I'm reading. Books, you can go right on there, look at them and see if you need something to help you in your business. Those are on there also. DM me anytime. If you know somebody that would be a good guest, let me know. Also, I've been getting my schedule pretty booked up on that as the podcast's growing. We're just, every month we're growing, and I'm just so appreciative of that. And I'm seeing all across the United States and around the world, different people, subscribing to the podcast and the downloads that I see that are happening. It's just amazing, and I appreciate. And I just want to thank each and every one of you once again, because I learned from you in everything that I do. And thank you guys. Appreciate it. Hope you have an amazing day today.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share, and go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.